Welcome to Ethos Effect Podcast.
Welcome to the Ethos Effect Podcast. After building and learning from failures,
We discovered our ethos and leveraged it
to scale, sell, and build again our seven-figure businesses.
whether you're starting out or leveling up.
This podcast is your source for innovation and lasting impact.
I'm Donovan Reikus with Ethos Benefits. This next series is going to be a little bit different than our typical podcast. I'm going to be interviewing some of the Ethos Benefits team. And that's because we recently were awarded the Benefits Pro Luminaries Award. That award is all about humanizing employee benefits, doing the day-to-day stuff, helping people navigate care, get it affordably as well. So without further ado, please enjoy these interviews and meet the Ethos team. Today, I'm joined with Korie Drain, one of the account managers at Ethos. Hey, Korie.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us today. Wanted to have a couple conversation today about like some of the stuff you do on a day-to-day working with our employers, but also the employees on claim processes. But first, I'm interested to know, and I want you to tell people about your background in insurance, how that started, and what your history has been like so far.
Well, like most people, I didn't really plan on getting into this industry. It just kind of fell into my lap. I come from an agency that focused on the fully insured space. I still was an account manager, but I wasn't very member facing. I did more of the behind the scenes type things, the marketing for prospects and existing clients. And anytime a HR client had a question about billing or member termination or enrollment, that's where my role would come in at my old agency. And towards the end of that, I started doing benefit administration type things on the benefit administration platform Ease, which is now Employee Navigator. But that's kind of how I got started, just accidentally, and went from there. And now here I am 9 years later.
So a lot of our team works remote, which is really cool. And we get a couple opportunities every year to get together at like different agency or insurance industry kind of conferences, which is always fun. But I know you kind of put together a couple stories of some of the stuff you do day to day and just kind of success stories and like everyday wins and things you're working on. So can you tell us a few of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's honestly a lot. We created this program with one of our clients, as you know, the Care Coach program, and just kind of giving members more of an easier way to navigate their healthcare journey, whatever that may be. We've helped people find providers that suit their needs for certain care. A great example is a guy had called in on a Saturday and, as most of us do, was just out running errands trying to get a prescription filled. And it was a prescription that he in the past had issues or a long process to get approved by the insurance company. And I just happened to have my phone on me and saw this text come through asking for help. And me being me, I just couldn't say no, even on a Saturday. So I picked up the phone, got in touch with the PBM, pharmacy benefit manager, and then also his pharmacy, and facilitated that connection and connected the dots between both of those. And he was able to get that prescription filled that day. And simultaneously, he's trying to come off of this prescription, which has a nasty list of side effects when you are coming off of it. It's not a prescription that you can just quit cold turkey. It takes a lot of support, not only personally, but also from your provider to come off of it successfully and healthfully too, which is obviously the most important part. So it was just taking that extra step on my end to do the research to find him what I felt would probably be the best starting position for him, with a provider that isn't so prescription driven. They kind of had some more alternative routes that they liked to go down based on their reviews and also their bio as well. So we were able to get them participating in the plan, which was great, and also get him established with an appointment so he could start that journey there.
So the Care Coach program is a great kind of initiative that we started in the most recent couple of years, but it's basically to help employees navigate healthcare delivery, because we're giving them an open access plan, but that makes things almost more difficult, right? Like now they can see any doctor, and then like they don't quite always know what type of doctor, where, how to engage with them, get appointments, that kind of stuff. So that's the stuff you're doing, is kind of help direct them, and along with that comes some cost and quality stuff. So they can understand that information before going into it. With that particular company, how many Care Coach requests had you done in the first 12 months of that program?
It's been over 130, which is amazing. And those are closed, completed, and we still have them ongoing. So, but to have 130 in less than a year is beyond what I expected in the best way.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing too. Because I know for that particular employer, I think they're somewhere in the range of 400, 450. So that's a lot of requests, and it kind of shows the need for that type of program, for there to be 130 individual requests that you're helping kind of navigate people through. So that's awesome.
I was just going to say, it just shows that people do have that need for it. But the pregnancy was interesting because I learned a lot, not just from the insurance side of things, but also from the provider side of things as well. I learned that in the state of Florida, if you're pregnant and you don't have an OB and you're already established with them, typically an OB, they will not see a new patient that is past the halfway mark in their pregnancy, which is 20 weeks. And so this member, I know it's crazy.
Yeah, I remember this. I remember this process
they're
because you were
pregnant.
telling me about it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, so what, they're on their own now?
Yeah, just good luck. I mean, I guess go have a home birth, whether if that's what you want or not. That's kind of, where you're stuck. And obviously, I have kids. So, and I've been through births, and I can't imagine being pregnant and not having a physician, to make sure that I'm okay, baby's okay, getting the care that I need, especially in a situation like this woman. She was high risk, had some concerns. So, it's just one of those things. It's concerning on all ends. But yes, so we finally were able to find her an OB that was at a birthing center, which is where she wanted to give birth, that was willing to work with the plan. But she previously had a C-section. And because of that, she couldn't give birth at this birthing center because there was just too many varying factors. They obviously were concerned if she did end up needing a C-section, getting her to the hospital. And it just created a whole other list of concerns for her provider. But her OB was great, and not only worked with the medical plan, but also worked with us and the hospital that she had permissions at, to make sure that she would be available for this member to give birth at the hospital. So at least that way she would have her preferred doctor there with her, and maybe not the most ideal space that she wanted, but hopefully give her some more of the care during labor and birth that she was looking for in the beginning.
Right. So prior to stepping in, she didn't even really have anywhere to go, right? Like she was just getting kind of rejected as she was looking for facilities, essentially?
She was getting rejected, and this was her second pregnancy. So her original OB, she didn't want to go back to. So she really was starting from scratch, because that was the last thing we really wanted, was for her to go back to a provider that she didn't want to be at, all for the sake of, they'll see you because you're already established and you're past this certain point and there's nobody else that's willing to give you care.
So I know you had one where it was after an accident, and I think stuff like that is super important, because for what we do, we have to remember that like when people are, it's very literally like their time of need, right? They're going through something traumatic. physically, emotionally as well, and then navigating healthcare delivery and also claims process, right? And finance, like that whole process can be overwhelming. So I know you had one there where there was an accident. You were able to kind of walk that individual through it. Can you tell us like what happened? Like what were the complications with the care they were getting received or the claim process that you're able to smooth out?
Right. So kind of like the lady and her pregnancy, he didn't have any providers established before this accident. So he really had a major accident, a motorcycle accident, where he suffered a severe brain injury. And not only that, but he was 3 hours away from where he lived. So whenever he got out of the hospital, he had this whole stack of referrals to these providers to follow up with that one, he didn't know if they would, if they would be covered under his plan. And two, they were hours away from where he lived. So luckily he reached out to us and we were able to take that original list and find providers in his area and double check to make sure that they would work with the plan. And, we started with a primary care physician and then obviously for his head injury, a neurologist, and just down the line, even a dentist. He had some dental issues from that accident as well, found him a dentist and got him into all of those providers within a month, maybe a month and a half of his accident, which, as we all know, is almost unheard of in our country, especially for a new patient. So, it just was a really great crossing of systems between us and our partners, our vendors, to get that done for him. And then on top of that, and like you mentioned, along with the claims, he also had a disability claim that he needed to be filed. And so, it was a situation where his provider was kind of dragging their feet on getting medical records over to the carrier. And we had to step in and push them to get that over. And, it came down to us saying, you realize you're keeping somebody from having this benefit that they have the right to, they pay for it, all because you all are taking the too much time to get the necessary information where it needs to go.
Yeah. One thing I know about you, Korie, is you're very persistent and timely on getting all those things done. And obviously it's super important, right? This guy's out of work, obviously needing care, not in a great time, very stressful time for him. And having disability payments, I'm sure, were immensely helpful. And that happens all the time with physicians. Like they don't understand what that is holding up, like that it's holding up him getting 60% of his income replaced while he's out of work. So that's amazing. One of the things we're implementing for a group, and I know we're going through open enrollment right now, but I wanted you to kind of tell us about direct primary care and kind of communicating it with the employees and explaining that benefit. And what is direct primary care? Like, what does it mean for the employees?
So direct primary care, it's pretty self-explanatory, I feel like, just from the title, but there's also the nitty-gritty details. It gives members access to these direct primary care physicians in their area. And what's really cool about the one that we used is it's all based on their location. So they log on to this microsite and they can click on their city and see all of these direct primary care physicians right there for them. They select that physician, and from there they connect with the physician. They have longer visits. So whereas, typically you might see your regular physician for 10 minutes, these physicians are really focused on building those relationships. And so maybe they'll see you for 30 minutes to an hour. And not only that, but if you have an appointment and you can't make it in physically, they have virtual visits as well.
Right. So for direct primary care, that's, same day or next day appointments that employees can get, which I think is one of the biggest things. Because if you try to get a primary care appointment, it's usually going to be about 3 weeks out. And to your point, you get 7 to 10 minutes when you actually get in there. So not super helpful, right? Like if you have anything going on, you're not going to be able to wait 3 weeks, right?
Yeah. And, like I said, it just seems so impersonal nowadays when you go in and, you get 10 minutes and you're like, well, I really had 11 minutes of information I needed to give you. Or, I feel like, at least for me and people I've talked to, you almost feel rushed, like you're just rushed out the door. They address the concerns that you write on a piece of paper whenever, you check in, and then you're done. But there's never really any follow up. Even if you are with your physician for multiple years, and I know that there are good physicians out there outside of DPC, but that it seems to be few and far between these days. So I'm glad that we implemented this program. I think it's been well received by employees, and I think it's gonna help a lot of people get that access to care that they want and need.
Yeah, and I mean, a great thing is obviously not only are they getting those quick appointments, but they have zero out of pocket. And then also when the doctor has 30 to 60 minutes per patient, there's so much more they can do. These employees can go get their lab draws there. A lot of them, they can even get their generic prescription drugs filled, stitches, like all these other kind of services where people are normally then also paying an urgent care or an ER, all that kind of stuff. When you have quick access to your doctor and they have the time for you, all of those services are provided at no cost directly at the doctor's office. And that easy two-way communication, phone, text, a physician actually there. I think it's a super cool program. And I'm excited to keep rolling it out to new employers.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people are becoming more open.
So Korie, one of the reasons I wanted to go over all these kind of stories is because Ethos Benefits was recently awarded with the Benefits Pro Luminary Award. And that is all about humanizing employee benefits. And it is 100% due to these types of claims and these examples and the stuff you walk our plan members through every single day. So thank you, and congratulations on the award. It is 100% you and the Ethos team getting this stuff done on a day-to-day basis. So we appreciate you.